Good morning, Kabroda crew, and welcome to our live stream. Hopefully, y'all had a good day yesterday. A nice little run up yesterday. Not too shabby. But yeah, hopefully, y'all had a good one yesterday. We'll head on over to the charts, kind of check them out. See, Terry's here, so good morning to you, Terry. I'm sure Spirit Maker's here as well somewhere. But welcome to the stream, guys. And we're going to head on over to our charts now. I'll show you guys kind of what happened yesterday. As you can see, we kind of had this nice run up yesterday after the live, which we did end up actually breaking out, which is surprising. Well, I guess kind of. I mean, we kind of figured it was due that spike up, right? It is interesting though. It came back down, retested, gave us that entry, and then went back up again. And now we're kind of flagging out. Really almost breaking out of that flag right now. But yeah, it was a pretty decent trade yesterday. If you got in, took it up to our target. Little stop below the breakdown, and it made about a 1.5 or so. 1.3, 1.5, depending on where you put your stop exactly. It's not a bad trade yesterday. If you guys want to see a little more analysis on yesterday's price action, we have a video coming out at 10 on that, so make sure you check that one out if you would like to see that. But yeah, that's kind of what happened yesterday. That's kind of what we were watching, is that trade there. About could have gotten into that about 1 or so, and then about 6 o'clock. Well, 6 o'clock UDC, we would have been out of the trade, 6:15 or so. So not a bad trade. Yeah. Guess we'll get into the battle box for today, kind of see what we've got going on. Get our levels set up for today. If we kind of run with what yesterday's price action is, I'm thinking maybe we'll get a little bit of a down trade today, but we'll see. Gotta let the market kind of tell us what it's going to do, because it's hard to predict the future like that. So it's always better to let the TA kind of tell you what's going to happen instead of trying to do it without it. There's Spirit Maker popping up in the comments section. Good morning. Alright, we'll head on into our GPT. So this is our BattleBox GPT. If you don't even know what it is, you can check it out in our description. It's basically just a AI that's designed to help you learn how to trade using our system mostly, but just really trading in general. So make sure you check it out if you haven't already. We'll basically use it today, sort of do like a demo almost, I guess you could say, which is what we normally do on the stream. But then we'll also kind of get into a little bit of TA and kind of show you guys what our thoughts are here at Kabroda for today. Spirit Maker says we're looking at, looks like we're working on that daily golden pocket. So we'll have to look into that. If you don't know what a golden pocket is, I kind of explained it yesterday on the live yesterday, but basically it's, if you use some fib levels, you can kind of find the levels that are, I believe it's 0.618 and 0.786. So if you use in between those two levels, it's kind of the golden pocket area. So make sure you, if you use one of those, then you'll basically have, that's kind of what Spirit Maker's talking about, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so basically what we'll need for our daily market review is there's 4 different screenshots, and then we'll need our FRVP levels, which I'll show you guys how to get, and then we'll need that 30-minute candle, high and low. I'll show you guys how to get that too. And then we'll need the news calendar. So for the news calendar, I'm going to grab it before we start with everything else. But basically, you're going to head to a website called cryptocraft.com. And then you'll go ahead and look over on the left. There's a little calendar, and you can click on the day, today's date, and that will give you all the news events for today in a nice little graph. I'll post a screenshot in here and show you guys. So this is kind of what it looks like if you haven't seen it before. But today we just got 2 medium impact things, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Nothing to worry about really. Really yellow, we just don't worry about it. So that happened at 8:05 too, so it's basically over anyways. So nothing really in the news for today. And then now we can get those screenshots. So we'll head to trade view, and we're just going to go down the time frames, taking a screenshot of each chart. But before we take those screenshots, what I like to do is, and I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to turn off my lines too. Just to make sure that the battle box doesn't get confused by the lines. And if one quick tip, if you don't know where your lines are, like see I have different horizontal rays on here, a bunch of different ones, and so you don't know which one it is on the chart. A really easy way to find it is just go ahead and click on it, and it'll pop up in blue over here on the thing. You can just either hide it or delete it depending on what you're looking to do with the line. You can also just kind of like go through them until you see the blue dot pop up over here. Or just hover over it and it will pop up in gray. Get rid of that one. And I'm going to get rid of my fib lines here. Alright, and then the next thing how we'll do before we get the screenshots is we'll go ahead and double click on the chart. Over here on the side where the price is for the like all the different numbers you see over here on the side, the scroll. Double click that. That'll auto set the chart so it will be in a nice easy framing. Makes it easy to read, but what we're trying to do is make it easy for AI to read. So we'll go ahead and double click it there. Double click all your indicators. If you don't want to double click, you can also just click this A here and that'll do the same thing. So like, for example, if I mess up the chart here and I click A, then it auto sets the chart. So double clicking is just kind of an easy way to do that. If you ever need to turn it off, you can click that as well, or just pull on the chart a little bit and it will reset. Alright, now that we have everything double autoed, we'll just go ahead and screenshot each chart starting at the 4 hour and moving down. So you got the 4 hour, moving on, you got the 1 hour, make sure they stay autoed. It should just stay autoed throughout the whole thing, but sometimes it gets a little screwed up. So 1 hour, got the 15-minute. The other thing you can do is if you have the ability to, you can just use quad view. So if you can set up 4 different charts on the same screen, you're welcome to do that, and that will just make it nice and easy to you can just take one screenshot, so it makes it real easy. And that way you just have to do that every day. You just take that one screenshot and then you got all of them lined up nice and easy. But for the purpose of the live stream, since not everybody has that, we just kind of show it with all 4 different screenshots getting taken. Next up, we'll get that FRVP. So heading back to our trade view, to our 1 hour is probably the best time frame for this one, since we're basically just looking for the hours. And then you're going to go from the crosshairs over here on the left down 1, 2, 3, 4, and click on the little arrow there and go down to fixed range volume profile. And this is the tool that we're going to use for this next bit. So we're going to start at today at the second. We're going to go back to October 1st and click on set the 7 o'clock candle. And that'll be our first point. And our second point will be today's 7 o'clock candle. And that'll give us the FRVP levels for our 24-hour time frame. So we'll turn on our 24-hour times. And if you don't have these lines, it's just a quick command to use. It's just Alt and then J at the same time. And you'll get a line like this. You can change how it looks and also add some text if you're looking to do that. And then you can rename it over here if you're looking to throw it into your object tree. And if you are interested in learning a little bit more about the object tree, we do have a video covering how to use it in more detail. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested in kind of learning how to use it more efficiently. But I have all my live stream levels or FRVP levels, like levels I'll need for the battle box, kind of just set up in here and named, so that way I can just turn them on and off whenever I need to. But we'll just line up our different levels just like this. So red is going to be your volume area high, yellow is going to be your point of control, and then the blue one on the bottom is going to be your volume area low. And then now that we got those three on there, we're going to go back to ChatGPT and we're going to do some typing. So the first thing that I'm going to type is FRVP levels. And then below that, I'm going to say 24-hour. And then these will be my FRVP levels for the 24 hours. So I'm going to just type the three levels, volume area high, POC, and then volume area low. And that's where I'll input the numbers right next to them, just to make it nice and easy for me to read, but also for ChatGPT. This way it's easy to see if you make any mistakes. Next I'll do the morning ones, and I'll do the exact same thing for the levels on these ones. So volume area high, point of control, and volume area low. And then the last thing that we can type, and we'll just do it right now to make it easy, is the 30-minute candle. And we'll do high and low. Now it'll just give us some nice, easy to read text to kind of set up the different levels in here. So we can see it nice and easy. So if we think like, oh, something's off, we can come back and see it real easily. Or and also so ChatGPT can kind of easily see kind of like what we're trying to put into it. Okay, so we got our different levels already on TradingView. So the easiest way to do this is to go and grab your 24-hour volume area high first. You go to settings, coordinates, and then you'll highlight the number here. And you can just copy it either with Control-C, or you can right click and say copy. And then we'll move back to our GPT and just paste it in here. And we're just going to do that for all three lines. So starting with that volume area high, and then we'll move on to point of control. Once you do have it clicked on the coordinates, you can just go ahead and easily just copy it right after you click on it. So you don't even need to go to coordinates and everything. Like right when you click the settings button, it will pop up and you'll have it there already highlighted. All you have to do is press Control-C. Alright, now we got to move on to that morning ones. So we got our three levels here for the 24-hour. So we can go ahead and turn those off. Not delete them, just turn them, hide them. We'll turn on our morning levels here. And then we're going to change this FRVP levels that we already have from the 24 hours. So if you remember, we put it on 7. So instead of 7 yesterday for this one, we'll change it from 7 yesterday to 3 a.m. today. So it'll be 3 a.m. today to 7 a.m. today. And these will be our levels we'll start with for today. And that's our 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. UTC -5. So depending on where you're at, time zones will probably change. But we are in Chicago time here. So it kind of depends on where you're at, but we are in Chicago time. But you'll have to change those numbers accordingly. If you really don't know, you can just go ahead and ask GPT. Just like literally just type it in to a AI or something and ask it what time zone that would be, 3 and 7, or 7 and 7, I guess. Okay, we got our 3 different levels here now. So all we have to do is take off our FRVP level, and we can go and dump those right into our GPT. It should be the same exact thing, same exact process, and you also should already have your coordinates already connected, just like we were talking about earlier. So click on settings, you should just be able to copy it right away and paste it into the GPT, and we'll do the same thing for the other 2 levels. There we go. So we got those. All of our FRBP levels are in there now. And the last thing we're going to grab is that 30-minute candle before we send it to our GPT and see what the BattleBox has to say about today. So for the 30-minute candle, the easiest way to do this is to go from here. You're going to go to that 30-minute chart, hover over 730. And as you're hovering over 730, you'll notice up at the top there's a bunch of different numbers. On my screen, it'll be under where it says Kabroda here. But there's a bunch of different numbers with some letters next to them. We're looking for the number next to the H and the number next to the L. The H and L are going to stand for high and low. So 730, the high is going to be 119,361. Heading back to our thing, we're going to be 361. 119,361. And then our low, head back to our chart, it's going to be 118,952. Boom. Then we got all of our levels. We got our screenshots all on here, and our news event is also on here. The last thing that is on here is you can get the weekly FRBP levels, but for the purpose of the live stream, we're going to keep it easy and simple, and we'll just use these different levels. If you do want to add that to yours, you can go ahead and ask ChatGPT how to get that, and it will just let you know. Ask the BattleBox at least how to get that, and it will let you know. So we'll send it in here and see what the BattleBox is saying about today. See how our market report looks for today. Alright, so if you've never seen one of these before, the first thing that's going to come up is a little bit of time frame TA. So it'll be kind of choppy. You're welcome to ask the GPT more about this. It can expand it and let you kind of know a little bit more about each time frame and kind of what it's talking about. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask the GPT. It'll let you know. And feel free to put them in the comments too. We can definitely help. Straight makers saying we got some strong bullish div on the 15 and 30, and the 1 hour also is in bearish div, so we'll have to check those out. So I guess we'll just jump right into TA. There's some more to the BattleBox. Most of it we'll kind of skip over because we're also going to do a battle plan for today, which is kind of just basically what trades we'll be looking at for today, and some of the stuff in here is kind of that's what it's talking about. We do got news down here, so if you didn't look at your screenshot, you can see it down here. Sometimes the impact will be wrong, so it's always good to like check your screenshot, but overall it's a pretty good just little easy way to kind of read through the news for today. And then also some things to watch out for as you're taking that execution, and then you got your levels down here. And then all your FRVP levels are right here as well. So we'll jump into our TA for today. Heading to that 4 hours, what we'll start with. Zoom out a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the battle box, what it has to say, and then we'll kind of jump into some just TA of the time frames. So the battle box is saying there's a strong impulse breakout lag continuing above 119K, holding extended levels above the EMAs. Volume expansion is visible, but histogram is starting to plateau. This suggests early signs of momentum fade, if not reinforced. No rejection candle yet. Sweet. So basically, we got that strong breakout. We're coming up to that 119K and continuing above it as well. We are holding above our EMAs here. They're pretty far below us. And then volume expansion is visible, but the histogram is starting to plateau. That means, I believe that's talking about the MACD. You can see we blew up and we're starting to kind of like shift over. So it doesn't mean that we're done with the move totally, but we are seeing some fade in momentum here. That's why the candles are the histogram candles are starting to kind of fade and turn a light green color instead of that dark green color. And you can kind of see that too with the two different moving averages here on the MACD as well. You can see we're kind of moving up, and we're kind of starting to almost fade and curl over a little bit. Not completely yet, but still there. RSI below that is showing that we are overbought. Pretty far into overbought actually. So that typically, when you get up into this far of overbought, you typically see a breakdown from there. Stoaches are the same way. We're overbought on those as well. The one thing though is with stoaches, it's not something you really look at on the longer time frames because it's not as critical. Other than that, there's not really a lot going on. You kind of had like a mini flag forming here on the 4 hour, and we fired out of it. The one thing I'm kind of leery of though as well is that we are very overbought. So more than likely we're not going to really fire out of this flag. And I know we already have, but a lot of times when you see like we're overbought like this is you'll see kind of like a breakout, like really a fake out almost, and then we'll break down like that and continue down from there. And if we continue this pattern, we are basically making a little like mini double top here too as well, so that's really not that great. So we'll see what happens with that. So heading to the 1 hour, you can see that flag a little bit better there. And we're actually almost making one of these flags here. You can see our price action is continuing higher. After we kind of made like a nice move, and then we're just continuing up and sideways, which is a typical flag that you see break down to the downside. We're going to see what happens with that one. The up move wasn't as nice looking as all I wanted. It's just one candle, but anyways, really that was a news event. Let's see. We'll read our battle box. So for the battle box, it says price is rating the 21 EMA. Repeated shallow pullbacks, momentum still bullish with divergence risk. MACD is weakening and RSI is flattening. So you can see we're riding that 21 here. We kind of hit it and then finally broke away from it a little bit, and then now we're kind of coming back and sitting like pretty close to right above it. Momentum is still bullish, but with divergence risk. So essentially, we are still bullish. So you can see we kind of broke bullish again here on the MACD, or starting to break bullish. You can see momentum weakening, but we are weakening as well. As you can see, that RSI is kind of been in that overbought, and now we're kind of starting to break down, start to go down into the zone. As Spirit Anchor is talking about, we do got a flat top here, flat to downwards, I guess, depending on what point you take. But kind of a flat top here, and then on the chart you see the price is rising on the top. So that is a bullish or bearish divergence. So that means that the chart is different than the RSI is essentially what divergence is. Or any indicator you can use, but RSI is a good one to work with for divergence. So you can see that we had our tops are very different on the two, so that typically means that we're going to see a downwards price action pretty soon. You can get it the opposite, so if you see the bottom is different than the bottom on here, and typically what it is divergence is really strong if it's like very different. So like if it's flat, for example, and this one's going up, that would be very different. Or if it's downwards and this one's upwards, that'd be very different. But if they're like both up but one angle is steeper than the other, it's still technically divergence, but it's not as strong by any means. So there is technically some bullish divergence, but it's not anything to be really noticed. Like honestly, we're more than likely going to see more of that down pressure than any kind of up pressure from that little bit of bullish divergence we have. Other than that, we are in the overbought area of RSI, so we're looking for that down run. Stoches are at the bottom again. 1 hour, not the greatest time frame from Stoches, so more than likely those are like lying to us essentially, because everything else is telling us down, and this little Stoches are trying to tell us that we're going to go up. My bad, you probably couldn't see that divergence earlier. So you can see that we got that flat top, and then there's the rising top here, and a flat here on the RSI. Just so you can see it now when I'm not right in front of it. So yeah, nothing really staying up. Looking pretty down on the 1 hour as well. We head to that 15 next. Zoom in a little bit on our indicators. All right. The 15 battle box is saying that we have clean trend structure. We're pushing the highs into 119.3K range. Small flag structure is forming, and momentum is still intact but extended. So we have a nice clean structure of sideways / up. Now we're pushing into the higher range of 19.3. So right here, we are breaking down a little bit from that now. Small flag structure is forming, momentum is still intact, but we are very extended. So you can see we got that momentum. It was intact. We were pushing that 19.3. Now we're kind of breaking down. You can see the two candles here on the histogram of the MACD are kind of starting to change color, show us that we might see more of a down run here. You can see the RSI is the same kind of. We broke up. We had a way overbought really here on this, at least on the faster moving average. Slower one hasn't really got up there yet, but you can see we're starting to curl and kind of flat line, which typically you'll see it kind of curl back down, especially with the MACD saying we're going to go down too. Stoches are topped out here. We kind of have a double top almost on them, and whenever you see a double top, we drop. Double top will drop. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Stoches are applicable in this time frame. Not quite as strong as they are on the 5 minute, but they are applicable. We really kind of are getting that double top here on the um, on the chart as well. The other thing to watch for is we do have, you can see here, we kind of have that here, and we go up higher for the next high. So we had a high, and then we had a higher high here. And then on the RSI though, we had a high and then a lower high here. So you can see behind my thing still, but I'll try to show you. This one's pretty big. Yeah, so you can see we had that higher high here, just like on the chart. And then, whoops. And then at the end here, we got that lower or higher high on the chart. So we had an uptrend, and then on the bottom here, we have a high and then a lower high down here. So we actually have a downtrend down here on the RSI. So that would be a more bearish divergence, just like Spirit Maker was noting earlier. And then, oh, what else did he say? That whenever that flag looks like a strong break with a bigger move down. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we're breaking and then we're going to dump out. We'll move on to that 5 now. So we got for the 5 minute, once it loads, I'll read the battle boxes thing. So the battle box says we got micro pullback underway after tagging 119.3K, the high here. We need to hold above that 118.9K, the morning volume area high, which we'll turn those back on. It says we need to hold above it. Obviously, we broke down it from it already to avoid intraday reversal attempt. So we already broke down from that high there. It says it's a little lower than it actually is, but oh, my bad. It's talking about this volume area high. My bad. It's talking about the morning volume area high, not the 24 hour. So we came up and rejected off the 24 hour, but now we're holding that morning one. So basically what it's saying is we see that break, then more than likely we'll see the volume area low break and then continue down here to that 24 hour. Start seeing that breakdown. As for the 5 minutes, we got a little bit of a pullback here. We're starting to see if we can break back up now. You can see the MACD is breaking down, so we got a little bit of momentum to the downside. We are starting to lose momentum here, possibly flip back to the upside. We were overbought on the RSI, and now we're kind of down a little bit lower. We came down and tagged to that middle range, but the slower moving average is currently over and breaking down. And what you'll see a lot of times on the RSI is the slower moving average will kind of, the faster one will kind of bounce off of it. So you can see like we broke above it, and then we bounced off of it, came back, retested it, and then we kind of broke up, and then finally we broke through it again after we got overbought. But it kind of happens the same way for both. So if the slower moving average is going to start breaking down, you'll see this one kind of start hitting it and breaking down until it finally gets enough strength to break through it and flip that and go the other way. So really a decent amount of down today is what I'm seeing for the charts. We'll go ahead and make that battle plan, kind of see what's going on with that, and then we'll call it a day. So let's build a battle plan. If y'all think any of this is confusing or anything, you just go ahead and ask us in the comments. We always try to reply to our comments. So on pretty much any videos. So if you need to know more or have any questions, you can go ahead and just ask in the comments section. We'll try to help you out as best we can. Also, feel free to use the battle box to kind of ask some questions, because this thing does know quite a bit, because it has access to a lot of different, trading knowledge. So you can kind of use this to help you teach yourself. One thing to be a little bit wary of is do take some stuff with a grain of salt, because as AI is still newer, there is sometimes when it has some like glitches, or I don't know what you'd want to call them, but sometimes it'll throw some misinformation in there, or it'll grab information from like somewhere that doesn't really make sense. But typically, pretty good source of information, especially if you're trying to learn and just have some basic questions to ask. But yeah, feel free to ask us in the comments or on here, or ask the AI. All right, let's see. So today we got that bull continuation trade. So if we break that 19,343 and get that 15-minute close above it and then retest, that'll be one of our trades. So that 19,300 is about that 24-hour volume area high. So if you have that level in your chart, you can go ahead and just watch that. If we get that break, that retest on the 5-minute, then we'll look at taking it up. If you don't already have this level, we'll post all of these on X after the stream today, so be watching for that if you're interested in getting those levels. Check out our X account. There should be a link in the description as well. If not, there is one on our channel page. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in getting the levels. We do try to post those every day. Targets. So the first target will be that 120 level. If we do end up breaking to the upside, we'll be looking at that 120, just because it's a big fat round number. So that's a number people are going to be kind of looking to jump out at, or jump in at, I guess, really. It's just going to be a high volatility number, so it's a psych number. Like, it's something people look at and like worry about. 120, 120. So that's why we call it a big fat round number. So that'll be our first target, and then after that you'll be looking at about 112.5, because there's a wick shelf up here, so that could be the next level that we are looking at. And my levels aren't exact, but if I were to take something and be kind of looking at these, the one thing that I'd be kind of watching for is I'd want to take it off, like say I took this trade here, I want to take it off like right here somewhere. So you don't want to be running to that 120,000 level. We want to run like right under it. Yeah, Spirit Maker's saying to be careful with that trade. So yeah, that the one thing with this trade is, like we went through all the time frames, everything is looking more bullish or bearish. And we are, like, essentially what that's telling us is that we're getting to the top of our run, I guess, here. So like we're starting to get to the area where each time it goes up, it gets riskier and riskier. So we can trade it up, and if the TA is going to tell us to trade it up, then we'll go ahead and trade it up. But it is something to be mindful of, that the chart is telling us it wants to go down eventually. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen today. It doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. But soon here we are going to see a down trade, like we're going to see some pretty good down price action. So especially I think it's up to the daily that we're seeing that down. That call, I guess, for the bearish price action. So we'll kind of see what happens here, but it is possible we could get another breakup. It is smart to be mindful of that. We could break down though as well, so make sure you're being careful as you trade this. Maybe lower your risk or something. Again, not financial advice, but it is something to kind of consider as we're looking at trading here. The other trade that we could take is that bear breakdown. So if we get that 15-minute close below the morning volume area low, so right down here under the 5-minute 200, we're seeing there's a volume area low at about 118 300-ish area. If we get to close on the 15-minute below that, and then we get that retest, that's kind of what we're looking for. It's that support flip, essentially, is what it is. So we get that flip there, and then the retest, we'll look for a down trade. The first target we're going to be looking for on that one is the 24-hour volume area low. And then after that, it's about 16.9. There's a little bit of an extension. So around right there. That's kind of the next level we're kind of looking at as for targets. So really for that 24-hour volume area low, we'll be looking at. And one thing to consider too as well is when we get targets like this, we're kind of looking for that target. Like as we start to come down to that target, like say we get that breakdown, right, and we get that retest, and we're coming down, and our trade's going good, right? We get close to that target. The one thing that we're watching for is any kind of like price action that's starting to tell us, hey, we're looking to flip back upwards. And then it's always good to just pull your trade, like take the I don't even know, like $100 or $200 or whatever it is that you were making from being so close to your target. Like even though you might not make that 250 or whatever you might make if it breaks down to here, that $200 right here is pretty good still. So it's better always to just pull it, take that trade, enjoy it, rather than trying to like squeeze out that little $50 and then possibly losing your entire trade for it. So that's always something to watch for. The last kind of trade you can take is just some chop in between these different lines. That's more of an advanced move, so not something we'll really cover too much on the live, but if you are interested in trading that, just talk to the GPT about it. If you're advanced enough to kind of know what you're doing there, then that is all on you. Good job. You can go totally trade in between the lines here. That's a basically support and resistance is kind of what you're trading. But other than that, that's really it for today. No real news for today, so nothing to really worry about. Just that bearish div on the different time frames, and more of that bearish outlook is just something to kind of be mindful of and watch out for. So yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed the stream. If you did, make sure you give us a like and subscribe. Hit that bell if you'd like to see more of our content. We post a recap almost every day, one for the weekends, and then we also have these live streams Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 a.m. So if you are looking to catch us 8 a.m. UTC -5, like Chicago time, so make sure you catch us if you are interested in those. We'll try to get some good content out there. Also, check out our X account. We do have levels posting on there almost every day, as well as some notifications for our videos coming out in the live stream. So, yeah. Hopefully, y'all have a good trading day. Happy trading to y'all, and we will catch y'all next Tuesday at 8. See ya.